Hello, Year 7, and welcome to today's lesson. So we're going to be looking at what happened after Thomas Becket died in today's lesson. But to start off, I'd like you to do the little retrieval activity, which is a mix and match. So you've got some key terms down the left-hand side column. You've got some definitions in the middle, and then what I want you to do is match the key term to the definition and put that in the last column. So A equals 1 to a 3, B equals 1 to a 3, C equals 1 to a 3. And then for each one, if you can come up with an example. And then at the end of the lesson, you will have the corrected version of that. I'll upload the corrected version and you can basically correct your own. Do it now. So that's the first activity. And like I said, we're going to look at what happens after Thomas Becket is murdered. And in particular, we're going to be thinking today about how significant Thomas Becket's murder was. Now, before I explain the activity, I just want to talk to you a little bit about what we mean by significance in history. So when we talk about whether something is significant or important in history, we have a criteria that we use to decide whether we think that event is important, because not all events in history are important, which is why we study some things rather than others, okay? Because the things that we study in history are significant, and they are significant because they meet one of the following criteria, okay? So the first criteria is whether the event results in a change. What that means is whether what happens then changes the way that things happen later on in the future. So does it have consequences for future or other events? So wars are a really good example. The reason we study wars is because of wars, things change after the war, which is why they're significant. So it results in a change. Another reason why something could be significant, or another thing that makes something significant, is whether the event is revealing. What that means is whether it tells you something about something else in history. So by doing a particular thing, it shows something else, okay? So whether something is revealing. Another reason why something could be significant is to do with resonance, or whether something resonates. Okay, and what that means is whether something that creates a feeling of connection or shared emotion. Okay, so often events are studied because people feel that emotion or feel the same feelings as them. Okay, or they feel particularly strong feelings. So on the right-hand side, you've got a picture there of Nelson Mandela, and he was a South African Prime Minister, the person to end apartheid, the separation of blacks and whites in South Africa. So he is studied across the world because often people resonate with South Africa. They feel the injustice in South Africa, which is why it's studied. Another reason that makes something significant or important in history is whether the event is remarkable. That means whether the event is talked about by lots and lots of people, or whether the event shocked people at the time, okay? And whether it was important at the time. So, for example, Thomas Becket's murder shocked people at the time, which is why we study it, because it was such a shocking event that the king had ordered his best friend to be murdered, okay, that actually it makes it a remarkable event. And finally, a final reason why something may be significant or important is down to the fact of whether it's remembered. So is that event remembered down the line? Okay, and people still talk about it a long time after. Okay, so if people still talk about an event a long time after, it's often important or significant because it's well remembered. So that's the criteria that historians use to decide whether something is significant or important. So does it result in change? Does it reveal something? Does it resonate? Do people feel connection with it? Is it remarkable? Lots and lots of people talking about it. And is it remembered a long time after the event? So what I'd like you to do in today's lesson is I'd like you to read a list of outcomes or results or consequences of the murder of Thomas Becket. These are things that happened after Thomas Becket died or as a result of Thomas Becket dying. Okay, and they are on the worksheet that's uploaded into Google Classroom. So you can either print the worksheet out and complete this activity by hand, or you can type into the worksheet and save it. Now, what I'd like you to do, okay, is in the right-hand side of the column. Okay, so I want you to read through the results table, all of the different results. And in the right-hand side of the column, I want you to explain why each result was significant or important using the criteria that I've just gone through. So, is the event remarkable? Does it resonate with people? Do people feel a connection? Does it result in change? Did it reveal something else? And is it remembered? I'm just going to give you, we're going to do one together as an example, so you know what to do. So here's your criteria for significance, and here's the worksheet. Okay, so number one's been done for you. So the first consequence or result is as follows. Many English people took the side of Thomas Becket. They were outraged with the king, who they blamed for Becket's death. Thousands came to the site of Canterbury Cathedral. So why does that consequent or result make it important or significant? So I've read through that and I've decided that actually that it's to do with the fact that the event was remarkable. And I've highlighted in yellow the bits that make me think that it's remarkable. Remember, remarkable is about the fact that lots of people were affected by it or talked about it. So I've said it was remarkable because many people took sides as they felt strongly about the murder. Thousands of people visited the site of the murder. That's why it's remarkable. So that's the sort of thing that I would like you to complete for each of the consequences or results. Now, again, you can print the worksheet off and do it by hand, or you can download it and complete it online or on the computer and save it. Whichever way you do it, what I'd like you to do is I'd like you then to upload your completed work onto Google Classroom, okay, into the assignment section, so I can then have a look at it and I can mark it at the end of today's lesson. And I will also use that as evidence of the register that you've attended today's lesson. Once you have done that first activity, what I'd like you then to do is activity number 2. Now, you can either do this on the back of the worksheet if you've printed it, or on a separate Word document, and again, save it. I'd like you to highlight what you think were the 3 most important results of the murder, and then at the bottom to write me an explanation why. So highlight what you think were the 3 most important results of the murder, and then write me an explanation why. Now, finally, if you have time, okay, and you would like to, you're welcome to watch this clip of a video, which lasts about 10 minutes, about the murder of Thomas Becket. So the first part talks about the actual murder, which we've studied, but the last part of the video talks about what happens after the murder and why it was so significant. So it's a really good video to watch. Okay, good luck with that today. All right, work really hard, upload your work, and I will check it at the end of today. Okay, and I will see you next Thursday.